Well, shifting gears, as you think about it, what tips would you give other parents to make hospital visits or medical procedures more manageable?
I think my number one thing is to be informed, um, to make sure that they know that they have the ability to ask questions, to get information, to understand what's happening, and also to give themselves grace. There's a lot of times that I had to learn to give myself grace to be able to have the fear, the anger, the frustration, also to find the joy, and I think a lot of the times as parents, we go through this and we feel like we can't help them. It's a very helpless feeling. And making sure that we understand that it's okay to feel that and that you have to give yourself grace and not, beat yourself up over the process and just really to um kind of go with the flow too. We've done a lot of different things with child life. We've done a lot of different, if there's one thing that he particularly likes that day, we will do that. Just kind of finding the niche for your child and the niche for you and how that coping can be brought into the hospital to help make things easier. So, what do you think?
Yeah, I think all of that. Now that our now that Jackson's a little bit older, I think keeping him informed on
Mhm.
why we're doing things, um, what that means for him, what the benefit is, so that he understands what's going on. I think that's really been helpful for
And
us all.
choice is a huge thing for them. His dressing changes, for instance, like he knows they're non-negotiable, but do you want them now? Do you want them at a different time within the same day when it's due, obviously? But we try to bring choice and in this world for everyone, there's a loss of control. It feels like a loss of control quite often. Um, and I think finding those things where you can give control or you can feel as if you've you know, settled into controlling something, whether it be if they choose this, or I can take this stuffy to the operating room or this stuff, just the little things. I can wear this gown or this gown, and just making them kind of understand that they have some power kind of
Mhm.
when there is a feeling of loss of power or loss of control.
Yeah.
So,
And you'll find when you open up that conversation that they start telling you things, little things that you can do to make them more comfortable that you never would have thought of because they
mhm.
now understand that they have a voice and they will, if they use that voice, they can get some things that make them feel more comfortable.
Like him in particular, he will tell them, I want to move myself to the table. So they'll bring him into the operating room and he wants to move himself to the table. He wants to have understanding of which mask to wear. So he's really been able to voice to his providers and kind of bring up, this is what I'd prefer. This is what I want for my life and what I want. And we've, especially going to the palliative care realm, we've really respected that as parents. And I think it's hard, but I think as he's gained more understanding and ability to speak, it's been, kind of freeing for him as well. So, yep.
That's wonderful. It sounds like you're really fostering a lot of autonomy that's going to serve him well as he goes through the rest of his journey. Do you have any advice or words of support for other parents or caregivers of children with medical complexities?
Mm. You're doing a good job. Of course, I was like, "I'm not gonna cry." It's lonely. It's hard because it feels like nobody else understands or nobody else, can walk in this world with you sometimes, and it's very alienating. It's alienating from friends and family and, really finding your village and finding the people that can be there behind you, and for people to know that there's other people out there like us who are there. We understand, we get it, and, just know you're doing a great job, and, keep doing the best you can even when you're in the trenches. I know it's hard, but there is always that silver lining or that piece that is gonna, shine through. So, what do you think?
I think that's perfect. Just try to find joy in each day.
Mhm.
There's always something beautiful going on. and just latch onto that and persevere and just know that you can do it.
We always try to find the positives in the valleys. So
Great words of wisdom. You certainly are in a unique situation. I think that most people, have difficulty understanding. So those are great words of wisdom. Are there any organizations or groups, like support groups or disease-specific groups or foundations that have made a positive impact on your journey?
So we have some local organizations. Our palliative, we use hospice, or excuse me, Edmark Home Care Hospice. They have supported our family for 5 years. They are amazing. Maybe it's 6 now. There's actually a new organization as well that a friend of mine started called the Apricity of Hope. And she actually has this beautiful pink house where she hosts retreats for medical caregivers. And she's had people from all over the country come to these retreats, and they just really embody the flamingo. So when the flamingo feeds their baby, they turn gray because they're giving of themselves. And her theme is to bring back your pink. So to kind of give back to yourself. And they've been wonderful. So those are some local organizations that have really had a positive impact on our journey. Is there anybody else you can think of? I mean, just our social workers throughout different hospital systems.
Yeah, Child Life, like you mentioned, has been a lifesaver.
Death Gear is great. I've done quite a few. I've actually used you all in a few of my papers. I'm going back for an MSW right now. So I've actually used some of the way that she presents literature and, talks about the Ole Foundation. We've used them as well for some things. So I think those are some really good support groups that we've found, and just kind of finding other people that understand where you're at and that you're not alone. So
That's great. Those are all great resources. I particularly love you calling out the medical retreat, because so often the focus, when a child has a chronic condition, is on the child, and the parent has very little support. So I think that's wonderful.
and it's a really good concept. She's only been going for about a year, but turning it and focusing on the caregiver, I think, is a rarity. It's usually, like you said, focused on let's bring in help for the child, let's bring in, but I feel like the caregivers sometimes not on purpose, but are inadvertently left behind. So, but the understanding that the caregivers are going through it just as much as the child. So, and we have 3, all 3 of ours are medically complex. So, yeah, it's a lot. So.
That is a lot. It really is. Well, that kind of segues nicely into my next question. What do you know now that you wish you'd known at the beginning of your journey? And maybe this even starts with your other kids.
See, that one's a hard one because I don't think I necessarily changed the way the journey went, but I would look back at the scared parent and I would say, you have the right to advocate. You have the right to ask questions, to speak up, to challenge. And not in a combative way or a, disrespectful way. I just know that through this journey, there's been a lot of questioning and understanding and going back and forth about, is this the right choice for my child? Is this the best thing to do for my child? Because these are life-altering decisions for these children. And really being able to know that I'm okay to ask, why are we doing this? Is this helpful? What is the long-term trajectory for this? I think as caregivers, and especially when I first started this journey, I was just terrified. It was overwhelming, but asking and educating myself is definitely really what I think I would wish I would have known, is that I could do that and, push for that education. So what do you think?
I mean, it's tough because we still don't know so much about what Jackson has. So from his medical care, there's not you know, things that
Yeah.
we wish we knew sooner. Yeah, I really think just advocating for your family, be it the kid that's in the hospital, the kids that are
Mhm.
at home, I think that's the thing that we had to learn the most along the way.
Yep. And remembering the siblings are going along with it. So,
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. Remembering the siblings are going along with it. I don't think that gets enough attention either.
mm-mm.
What are some of your hopes for Jackson?
My biggest hope for him is to just be a kid. Quality of life, experience, and not let his medical situation hold him back for as long as we're allowed or gifted to have that ability. So,
Yeah. I mean, we've got some like trips that he wants to do and just try to experience those things with him and, you know, take the whole family along and make lots of memories.
I had a doctor say to me once, do you want to look back at your journey and look back at the medicalization or the medical trauma, or do you want to look back at the memories and the experiences? And that really shifted my viewpoint to it has to be there. The medical has to be there, but you can also look at the experiences and the beauty in it and make the memories that aren't necessarily related to what affects their life medically. So I think that was really a game changer for us. So
Okay. And on a more lighthearted note, do you have 3 words that you would use to describe Gus Gear?
I'd say helpful in more the ways than one. Not only with the products, but with the advocation, the understanding, and I would say hope, because for us it's hope that everything is going to kind of stay calm, you know, that this line is protected, that there's no situation going on. And the last word, what do you think?
Fashionable. He loves them.
I love it. He does. He does. He thinks it's part of his fashion statement. You're not wrong.
Mhm.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, no, he will, Mom, it needs to be on. And he just hangs out in it and thinks he's the coolest little thing. I don't know. He cracks me up. So,
I love that, especially because Sarah, our founder, really wanted to give kids the opportunity to have the choice of a fabric to wear and things like that. So it just goes to show that having those choices is really helpful and can really make a kid feel like themselves and feel strong like themselves.
yep.
Well, Aubree, Ryan, thank you so much. This has just been fantastic. Thank you for sharing your journey and opening up. We hope it'll help others.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. We appreciate the opportunity.
Yes, thank you.